What was the tipping point of your last relationship? She was talking about how hot her friend was and I was like, you ever think you might just be into ladies? And she started crying. We're still friends and honestly not the worst breakup. Good for you to be there for her. You sound like a really wholesome guy. Blunt force castration. Turns out she never actually left her ex-boyfriend, and I found out when she blew up about me adding a picture of us together to my Facebook. Sad on me. Saw all the red flags but ignored them to ride that train into oblivion. Realized I was subconsciously using we instead of I when talking to a third party. Decided I liked it, and we've been together for about 25 years now. Congrats. Finally something positive on this thread. She was moving to another city 4 hours away and tried to keep it a secret till the last minute. Until I overheard one of her family members talk about it. She could have just told me and worked it out. If she didn't tell you, she didn't want to work it out. She just wanted to enjoy the benefits of the relationship as long as possible. Had a similar thing done to me but outslipped one day when I break up with you. She was heading to her first music festival and planned on breaking up before going. Threw a frying pan at my head. Ducked it. Started telling me she was going to call the police and accuse me of hitting her. Dodged a fucking bullet there, dude. Well, you dodged a frying pan, but also a bullet. If you can dodge a frying pan, you can dodge a ball. She started telling me how she had to defend me to my friends after I had to miss watching a show with them to go into work. My friends told me that wasn't true and she spent the entire time shit-talking me. And I bet she hated drama. Like, a lot. I came home from work and everything had been moved and or shifted. Nothing was where I had left it. I didn't even ask and she had made my bed, folded my laundry, put my crap away, washed my dishes, and basically just cleaned my place. We got married a year later. I know it's not much, but I was touched that someone would do that for me. People talk about love languages, and I guess I learned that day that acts of service was mine. I suppose no one specified it had to be a negative tipping point. Edit. Well, the tone of this thread has really turned around since I was here last. This was the only nice one of hundreds, and it was very deep. Nice one, Reddit. 7 hours before I had a big test. She wanted to argue. There was not arguing with her. If you stayed quiet, she kept going. If you disagreed, she kept going. If you took her side, you were lying. 2 hours into the fight, I tried to ignore her and go to bed. She told me to admit we're through. Might this be a way out? I said yes. She started questioning if I was serious, so I had to lay it out. Yes, we're done. I'm sick of this. We are done. We're over. You're moving. We're done. Now go pretend to sleep on the couch for 15 minutes before you coming back in here and yelling more about how I didn't come rescue you from the couch. Yes, I know you that well and I'm sick of all your BS. Go sleep in your fucking car. I don't care. We are 100% done. I'm going to sleep before you ruin my final tomorrow. We are done. Quote. Edit. I could insert a classic "fuck you Karen" type comment, but I won't. My ex had many legit problems in life that I hope she was able to work out. Maybe she learned something from losing me? This sounds so very familiar. He wouldn't accept not arguing when he was upset. We couldn't calm down and talk later. Every argument went from something small to absolutely huge for no reason, and would be drawn out for hours. I wasn't allowed to walk away from the fighting without him following to continue it. I ended up locking myself in the bathroom, crying. At 2 a.m. he asked if we're done now and I said yes. Finally. Man, turns out my exes are pretty fucking sane and stable. Right, some of these are insane. I've only had 2 relationships last longer than a month. Both ended with nothing more than some tears and I hope everything works out for you, sort of. Statement. The first ex and I are still friends and the second ex said we can't talk at all after the breakup. Still not sure how I feel about that. But if that's her process, so be it. I occasionally mull over some shit that happened, but threads like these truly remind me how fortunate I've been relative to others. I'm like your second ex. Makes it easier to move on, man, at least for me. My last ex didn't get this. She guilted and manipulated me into staying one of her best friends by saying that she still cared and liked me but just couldn't date at the time cause of her school work. This was back around New Year's. Finally cut her off last week. Only downside is she's a manager where I work and I've been on vacation this past week. Friday will be fun. First and last tipping point, they were married to a whole other person. At least it wasn't just half another person. When she finally started to sober up from the year's worth of prescription meds and immediately said, "I don't want to be married anymore." Edit. It's been requested that ages be given to provide some context. In my case, the divorce was about 10 years ago. We married at 25. Divorced at 29. We had about 6 good months between the wedding and her ailments presenting. 2 years of ever more potent prescription medication. A brief period of sobering up. Then close to 2 years of separation leading to the divorce. It's weirdly common for people to get divorced right after they get sober. I feel as if this is probably what the person going sober feels is best for the mature people struggling with addiction or tasked with figuring out their triggers. What gives them the urge to use? It's possible that many times the person going sober identifies the marriage as a trigger. Unfortunately, these triggers can last a lifetime, and the easiest way to deal with the urges is to get rid of what causes them completely. I hope the people who do this can stay sober. And I hope the people who are affected by this can recover also. Being close with someone who has an addiction can really fuck a person up. Probably as much as the addiction fucks with the addict. I got tired of carrying her to bed after her nightly binge drinking. Also, her complete denial of being an alcoholic and refusing to get help. Edit. Corrected autocorrect failure. That sounds like the girl I currently have living with me. No relationship, but she's adamant she's not an alcoholic but falls asleep on the couch after drinking all night and I have to drag her ass to her bed. Edit. Okay, I get it. Enabling her. Apparently, he was on a 5-day bender, ignoring every single one of my messages until I said, "I'm leaving you." Then he said he was gonna kill himself if I leave him. Something he said every time I tried to leave. I simply said, "Okay," blocked him and sent an ambulance to his house. When the ambulance got there, his friend sent me a ton of abusive messages saying, "Why the fuck would you do that, ACT?" Turns out the paramedics walked in on her sucking his dick. I'm sorry, but I genuinely found this super funny. I agree. A guy who's one moment threatening to kill himself in order to hurt, manipulate a loved one, and then almost immediately afterwards starts getting his dick sucked by someone else is acting so incredibly and extremely shitty that it just transforms into something comical. When I realized she wouldn't ever stop playing the victim card, I'd be apologizing for the rest of my life for stuff that was her fault. That's what's happening with my current ex. We broke up for a different reason and I said it on this post, but now he keeps claiming that he has an evil side. To hi monsieur, don't get me wrong. I believe in that stuff. But when you blame it on Hyde, his evil persona, every time you yell at someone, break something, etc., it's kinda annoying. Edit. Another thing. A teacher said that he had Hyde last year and it's pretty common for him to act like this. But the only time I ever witnessed his anger, Hyde, was like 2 days after we broke up. Is this dude a goddamn anime character? I wish there had been a tipping point. But our relationship just died a very slow death because she had gradually been losing interest. She wouldn't stop sleeping with her ex-boyfriend and then decided to marry hi monsieur, she told me. This via text. Sounds to me like he never stopped being her boyfriend, at least in practice. When we went on a 16-hour each-way road trip and didn't kill each other. Knew I was going to marry her after that trip. Edit. Lol. Love the area you my BF comment. I am in fact not as you've all figured out. Thanks for the gold. Hakuna Matata y'all. Yay, a happy tipping point. Upvoting because are you my boyfriend? We just got back from a 16-hour both-way trip. Didn't kill each other and he said he wanted to spend his life with me. Coincidence or? Whispers guys, did we just witness a proposal? Now Kif. We were doing long distance and had been having problems for a long time and had been trying to work through them, or staying together despite how overdue a breakup was. Whichever. Anyways, I flew home to visit him for his B-Day and felt like I was going to have a panic attack the whole time I was there. We had some fun and didn't fight a ton, but I was super tense. Finally, I get back and it just felt like such a relief. A couple months later, he was just about to visit me and we got in a fight and he threatened to cancel his trip and not come, something he did frequently when he visited. At first I argued against the idea but then actually considered it and realized what a weight off it was. Honestly, that's the worst when you realize you just rather not be around them anymore. Nothing personal but just yeah, go away. She would threaten me with physical violence and self-harm for years if I ever left her. I was made to choose between my friends or her. Certain threats made if I'd choose friends over her, etc. Having to be in contact with her at all times if I wasn't with her. Going through my phone and years of messages with my closest friends whilst I'm asleep, etc. Deciding who I could follow on Instagram, be friends with on Facebook based off how attractive they were or if she deemed them as a threat, etc. Even if they were long-term friends, makes me feel sick thinking about it all again. Crazy shit. I was younger and didn't realize how abusive she really was, lost a lot of friends because of her. She eventually did another one of her fake breakups and I decided not to crawl back to the person that would always tell me that no one else would ever love me, etc. Said, okay, I'll pick up my stuff tomorrow, or something along those lines, and then she obviously freaked out, realizing I wasn't falling for her tricks and playing into her usual games. Haven't seen or heard from her in 4 years now. Edit. Added a few more details. She just kept getting drunk and going crazy. I had to call the police on her because she took a bunch of pills when I left during one of her binges. She would call me at night often, drunk as hell, and yell at me, and then threaten to cut herself when I refused to come over at 1 in the morning. She still drinks to this day. Me and my ex broke up because I was the one who drank. When it happened though, I evaluated my life and honestly he jerked me around for 2 years. On and off. Are we together, are we not? He would talk to other girls and I could never voice my feelings because I was afraid I would scare him off. I would drink to numb these feelings. I figured him breaking up with me was the best thing to happen. I'm engaged now to the love of my life. I feel so secure in my relationship and where I am as a person. I haven't drank in a year and a half. Sorry for the rant. The post just reminded me of it. Edit. I shed a tear reading the replies. I hadn't really taken the time to look back and see how I've grown, and I wish I knew then what I know now. I had to get to my lowest point to change, and I thank all of you for the kind words. Just know it really means a lot. Congrats on the sobriety. Just know people like me are jealous of it. You're amazing. Edit. I fucking love the honesty of the users on Reddit. First wife. And this is in total retrospect. She was the one who finally bailed due to her mental health issues. The scary part was that she shot my dog because she did not like him. I heard later she shot her next husband's dog because it got out of the yard while she was late for work and didn't have time to chase it. Both husband number 2 and I just concluded we were both lucky we got out of relationships with her alive. So wait, the tipping point was and when the crazy woman shot your dog. Finally someone asking the real questions here. Someone shooting my dog is pretty much the worst double whammy imaginable. Because not only did they shoot my dog, but now I'd also be in jail for murder. Jesus fucking Christ, mate. There was no tipping point. The whole table was just pulled out from under me. It was just suddenly, there's another woman. I've been seeing her this past month. When I tell you I'm going to my dad's, I'm staying with her and leaving you. Get out of my house. The other woman was his dad's girlfriend's sister, almost twice his age, with 2 kids. He was mid-20s. We'd been together the better part of a decade and living together for approximately 5 years. It was very strange and very sudden. This was nearly 5 years ago. A fake. They're still together. Edit. Since everyone seems to be focused on my tenancy at his place, he essentially inherited the place and paid all of the necessary monthly dues, etc. I did not contribute to these expenses due to long-term illness, and he did not charge me rent. I was never on any paperwork, and even if I had been, I still would have just up and left. I know a little bit about how that last part feels. First girlfriend and I break up. She rebounds a month later with a 50-plus-year-old. They're still together 10 years later. Yuck. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.